side. What we are down to now is the reconnect, so they may have some work from licensed electricians that need to be done at the home, and they can call us and we're connecting those. Again, all trash service should have been restored. We have maybe one road right now. We're still waiting on a franchise cable provider to bring the line up and we'll get it back down. So hopefully we'll be able to collect all of that for our residents. I think that's Baker Benton.
Good morning. Thanks, Barry, for having us over here today. I appreciate the opportunity to address the press this morning. So yesterday was the conclusion of day 6 of our contracting firm on the ground. As of the close of business yesterday, they had collected over 85,000 cubic yards of vegetative debris. That does not include the vegetative debris that has been brought to the 2 public debris sites. I don't have a way to quantify that quite yet, but when we get those numbers, we'll update that. So that number for our contractor represents, by the end of close of business today, clearly over 100,000 cubic yards in the first 7 days on the ground. And for a guy that's been doing this for, I think, over 20 years or so, he said this is the largest one-week collection of vegetative debris he has ever been involved with in a tornado around the country. So that gives you some perspective of magnitude, at least anecdotally, from our contractor. As the judge mentioned, I don't want to steal the information about HART, the Benton County Disaster Relief Fund, but we're proud to be a part of that, proud to endorse that fund as a way for folks in our community that want to do something, and maybe they can't go out and cut limbs or haul debris, but could cut a check. And we want to make sure that you understand that's publicly endorsed by us for that purpose. As was mentioned, FEMA and their NWAC site are up and running. They're processing smoothly. It's easy access for parking in the parking garage. And then for those that don't know, SBA is located at the World Trade Center at 3300 South Market Street, Suite 400 in the Pinnacle area of Uptown Rogers. So we're in the phase 1 of debris cleanup. We have not made a complete first pass around the city. And I can tell you that from driving around the places we have gone through and made a first pass, you wake up the next morning and you go back and it appears that nobody's ever been there. And that's going to be the narrative, unfortunately, in a large portion of our city that was in the direct storm path. And so I just want folks to understand that this is going to take a long time. It's going to take multiple passes, but we will be back. So as they pick up debris from your curb, just go ahead and push the rest back up, because we'll come back to get it. At some point down the line, on past 3 maybe, we'll start talking about picking up piles of construction debris and trash. But in the meantime, if you're going to put those out at the curb, again, as has been mentioned but cannot be reiterated enough, please make sure those are segregated, separated, and that those that the debris is not on top of utility meters or against guide wires or fire hydrants or other obstructions that could be damaged as a result of picking up the debris. That's extremely important. We're now cleaning out storm drains in anticipation of rain. Those storm drains, took a hard hit, our storm drains and channels. And so we're removing debris, but what we're finding as we're going through and removing that debris, we're finding a lot of debris that has been hand-placed there, and not by God or the storm. So I want to ask residents for their cooperation to please do not put your storm debris inside the channelized storm drains that are in the city. It will cause flooding downstream. So your house might not flood, your backyard might not flood, but you're going to cause your neighbors to downstream. And so please, again, just respect that fact, and that's something we deal with fairly frequently. Those waste disposal sites that I spoke of that are for the public's use, again, are at 2300 North Arkansas Street as well as 3101 West Oak. They're open Monday through Saturday from 7 to 5 p.m. and Sunday from 1 to 4. It's important to continue to mention those two sites as the public sites because we will be opening up and have opened up 2 different sites for our contractor that are monitored sites. Those sites are not open to the public. And so, in particular, there's one on Dixieland just south of Rogers High School. That was used in a previous storm as a public site. So when it opened for our contractor, they were having to tell people to turn around and go away. So the site on Dixieland is for our contractor only, not for public drop-off. We are continuing to have our trash and C&D pick up at those public drop-off sites, and we will continue that through next Friday. We'll reevaluate in the middle of the week. I will note that we are starting to see some abuse in the C&G, the construction debris drop-off, and so we'll continue to monitor that. And we just encourage our residents to make sure that when you're visiting that site, that it's for storm debris and not for other private trash collected somewhere else. We also, at this point, we're starting to see an uptick in complaints about bad actors and folks going door to door. We have a peddler's ordinance in Rogers where you have to get a city license to be able to go door to door to sell services or goods. So that's one way for folks to verify who they're speaking with. But watch out for the scammers. They're out there, and we want to make sure that our residents are not fall victim to these scammers. Some are out of town and some are local. That concludes my remarks.
Hello everyone, my name is Lacey Knife. I am the Public Information Officer for the Arkansas Division of Emergency Management. Here with me I have Nathan Murray, who is the Deputy State Coordinating Officer, so he will be here to answer any questions you may have at the end of the event. The Arkansas Division of Emergency Management has been working alongside FEMA since Sunday, May 26th to help coordinate all response and recovery efforts for individuals and infrastructure. A disaster recovery center has opened in Benton County in the Becky Pannett Student Center on the campus of the Northwest Arkansas Community College, as your judge and your mayors have talked about. The center will be open every day from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Local, state, federal organizations will be available to help impacted individuals who may have questions about how to apply for assistance or questions about their applications they may have filled out online. We know many impacted individuals have questions about debris removal. That's a subject that's been touched on a lot at this press conference. We urge you to sort your debris into separate piles and to move it to the right of way. Those debris categories, I'll go over them again. They're vegetative, construction and demolition, white goods, electronics, and that hazardous household waste. If you have questions about debris removal, please reach out to your local government or county emergency management for assistance with debris removal. You can also contact the Crisis Cleanup Hotline. That number is 479-358-1131. Samaritan's Purse is also available to help with debris cleanup. Their number is 479-644-4425. The Crisis Cleanup Hotline will only be active through Friday, June 14th. We encourage individuals to follow the Adams social media pages as well as FEMA Region 6 social media pages because we will continue to post up-to-date information regarding the recovery process and available resources for Arkansans. If you haven't done so already, please also give your local emergency management and county government pages a follow. You can find helpful storm recovery information on the governor's website at helparkansas.com. And just thank you all for being here today. The recovery process will take time, but please know that Adam will be with you every step of the way.
Good morning. My name is Keith Jones. I'm an External Affairs Officer with FEMA. I'm here with the Deputy Federal Coordinating Officer, Frank DeFrace. I'm thankful for the opportunity to come and speak with you today. I've been visiting all the impacted areas over the past week, and I've had the opportunity to speak with Arkansans and hear their stories of surviving the incident, and they were truly impressive. I've also been impressed with how quickly your local officials and first responders and community members have cleared all the roadways to make them passable so we can get to work. I want to reiterate what our FEMA administrator said last week when she was here, when she visited Arkansas, and that was how you have all shown great resiliency by helping your neighbors through this initial recovery. We know there's work to do, and FEMA's going to be here every step of the way. As you clean up from severe storms, we want to remind you to be cautious. If you're using a chainsaw to clear debris or a generator to power your home, be sure to wear the proper safety gear, operate within your skill level, and follow the manufacturer's instructions. Recovering from a disaster takes a whole community approach, and there are many local, state, federal, and community partners here to help. We have teams on the ground, and we're looking to open disaster recovery centers. There's one open, as previously mentioned, in Bentonville, at the Northwest Arkansas Community College, at the Becky Parent Student Center. You can access that parking garage off of Water Tower Road. There, survivors can meet with FEMA, the U.S. Small Business Administration, and additional disaster recovery staff to register for various forms of disaster assistance, upload supporting documentation, troubleshoot their cases, and coordinate their road to recovery. Additionally, we have mobile registration intake center sites providing registration assistance in Decatur at the Falling Springs Community Church, and they are either canvassing neighborhoods and knocking on doors or setting up in public buildings in other declared counties to help residents apply for assistance or to answer any questions. Federal disaster assistance is available here in Benton County, in addition to those living in Baxter, Boone, and Marion counties. And there are 3 ways to apply, even without going to a disaster recovery center. You can go to disasterassistance.gov. You can call our 1-800 number at 1-800-621-3362, or you can use the FEMA app, which is available for both iPhone and Android devices. We can provide help with serious needs, paying for a temporary place to live, home repairs, personal property, and rental assistance if you're displaced for an extended period of time, and other needs not covered by insurance. You don't have to wait for your insurance claim to be complete to apply. You can apply now. For those with insurance, it's important you have that claim number when you apply. All claims with property damage will require an inspection to be completed. So if you've applied and you receive a phone call from an unknown number, please answer it. It could be one of our inspectors trying to schedule a time to meet with you, and we don't want you to lose your window of opportunity just because you won't answer the phone. As of this morning, nearly 2,300 applicants have applied for disaster assistance. That exact number is 2,294 through FEMA's Individual Assistance Program. I want to reiterate that the funds provided by FEMA are grants and do not have to be repaid, but you will have to save your receipts. You can also apply for a low-interest loan from the U.S. Small Business Administration at the same time to cover any unmet needs. Once again, if you've been affected, please apply soon. Your life can change in an instant, but it can take weeks and months to recover, and we'd like to start that as soon as possible. Thank you.
Morning. My name is Jeff Webster with Accelerate Foundation, and I'd like to thank the group behind me for including us in terms of playing our role to help with what's going on here. Probably about 3 days ago, Judge Mooring and the mayors and others, all of us collectively got together and said, you know, we're going to need to be thinking about a Benton County relief fund. And so that group came together in terms of saying, could this be, how could it operate, et cetera. So Accelerate is really playing the role as far as administrating that. So I'd say a few things about it. It's out to help individuals, so really targeting households up to $125,000 as far as household income, so helping people that likely need the most help, if you will, in that sense. Certainly people in Benton County that have been impacted by the tornado and the storm, et cetera. So that process, if people, they need to, there's a lot of different places you can go. BentonCountyReliefFund.com. You can go to AccelerateFoundation.com. There's links on all of the county sites. The mayors have them on the city sites, et cetera, where a person can come. It's really meant to be somewhat of, you might call it gap support, to tremendous support coming from FEMA and a lot of different sources out there. And so it's really trying to be what we would call tactical, fast response, because big support may be coming, but people need help, and they need help now. So that's what we're doing. We're processing that. We were partnered with Benton County in the past for emergency rental assistance. Great partnership. So we're gearing our team and expanding that up to be able to be very timely on that. I think we started about 2 days ago. I'll talk about donations here in a second, but we've got checks are going out every single day. So this is not wait a long time. We've got at least one round, if not multiple rounds of checks that go out each day. So individual support. So the primary part of this is that fund. But we administer this through our HARC organization. And the other thing HARC is doing is, there's a lot of resources out here, and it's almost good that there's redundancy as far as networking across this, so you don't want to see people drop through the cracks, if you will. We've got a very extensive map of resources. And so not only will we be assisting with the funds I talked about, but also, hey, I need food support. They might need legal support, things that you may not think about directly. We know where to get people connected. It's a connection organization, so we build them a quick disaster recovery or resource plan, if you will, connected to those types of things along with the funding that I'm talking about. So a lot going on for individuals. The second part of that fund is also for organizations. So nonprofits, and we really think of this in two ways. Nonprofits that are now all of a sudden scaling up, and all of a sudden they're getting tons and tons of people coming their direction that need help. So part of that fund can be used for supporting nonprofits that are scaling up. And then secondly, the nonprofits that they themselves may have all of a sudden had damage, and they're trying to get back open and being able to help people, so it will help directly with that. That's what I come back to is when you hit that link, and ultimately it's going to bring you to the Accelerate site. I would say every person in the county should be coming to that site. So either because you're an individual and you need help, you're a nonprofit that needs help, or you've got the ability to donate. So we've already, we started this 2 days ago. We've got a little over $700,000 already has come in. That's a combination of philanthropy, businesses, and individuals can contribute. And $10 matters when you're out to help people, and it all scales and builds up. So it's an opportunity to do that. It's tax deductible. It's fast and simple. But we'd encourage everybody within the county to contribute to that fund to help your neighbor, if you will. Thank you.
Any of us can take any questions that you all have.
Hi, this is for Jeff. For the fund, can people use that for maybe temporary housing, like hotel costs or anything like that, if their house is damaged?
Yes, we don't really have restrictions on what it can be used for, so it's really what they need help for. There's FEMA help, there's insurance help that can help with housing, if you will, and those things may be coming, but what about tomorrow? So it's trying to get dollars in people's hands quickly. I can touch other examples where people, again, things are already going out. Could be rent help. All of a sudden someone's business is closed, so they just don't have a paycheck anymore. Various things, the tree removal, well, if they're actually having to hire a service, those types of things. The other thing I'd say with the fund, much like what we did with emergency rental, is our goal is to get the check to the provider doing that service, because people always ask that question. That's our goal. Is that exclusive? The only way we can do it? No, but that's what our goal is.
Have people already started applying for the service?
Yes, we've had right about 500 people in the last 2 days already have come to us, and we're processing those people as we speak, getting checks out. We've already had 2 or 3 batches of checks going out already, so trying to be timely as we can be.
Who's eligible for this? Is it only people in the county? Are there specific groups that are eligible?
There's really only 3 eligibility requirements, I'd say. And yes, Benton County, that's what it's all about. People that have been impacted by the storm, my second point. And really households that are $125,000 income or less.
Okay. And does this money have to be paid back at all?
No, it's a complete grant, yes.
Is there a cap to how much money you all are providing?
On an individual basis, it's somewhere around $1,000. Unique exceptions, we can go above that. At the organizational sense, that's around $25,000, and it just depends on what those needs are. Do they have access to other resources? And can we put together, again, for the individual, can we put together beyond those dollars through other types of help that we know how to get that perhaps might be pro bono? a check to go to the grocery store, well, it may make sense to go to the food pantry and use the dollars we have for other needs that they have, et cetera.
Any other questions?
This question's for you, actually. Do you know how many houses and buildings have been destroyed from the storms?
I have a county count, which, it's funny, I just got that before we started here. This is a count for Benton County, which should be inclusive of the FEMA numbers, but there may not be complete overlap. Right now, we're looking at almost 2,600 reported properties impacted by the storm, 75 destroyed, 265 major damage, 893 minor damage, and 1,267 that are affected. That's what we have reported in Benton County. The reporting to FEMA might not exactly match up with that, but that's what we have so far.
I don't have any.
Okay. Any other questions?
Do we know yet how long FEMA will be available in the center and when?
So one part of it, incident management assistance team, we've come out in the first part, and we also bring people along for longer periods of time, but we will stay here until the incident is complete. It starts off with individual assistance, which is why right now we're really talking about application, but there's also public assistance and mitigation that will take months and into years to help communities come back. So FEMA will be here for a while. Let's say, months and years until getting all of that approved. But we may not be walking around with our labels on for a lot of months. You might not see us, but we'll be working behind the scenes with Adam and your local officials for a while. Thank you.
So Benton County has a lot of minorities in the county that don't speak Spanish or don't speak English, that speak Spanish or another language like Marshallese. How are you guys reaching out to them, making sure that they're getting those resources that they need?
So a couple of things on that. As a person contacts Accelerate, which is our HARC organization, we have folks on staff that are Marshallese, Latino backgrounds, et cetera. So the language skills, we have all three of those. As we're getting the word out, if you will, typically things on our website, as you come in there is written, you got an option of all three languages, English being the third. And then we're also developing flyers that will start getting out in the community so that people can read those and understand where to go as well.
All of FEMA's written products that you can find at FEMA.gov/4788. That's the disaster number. Or in English, Spanish. We have Marshallese as well as a number of other languages. Anything that gets reported here, we have translation services that translate all of our written documents into those other languages, as well as help for those that are hard of hearing.
And when it comes to those FEMA applications, how soon can you expect, between applying someone to reach out to come and tour and then receiving that aid?
Well, Frank, tell me if I'm wrong, but I've seen it happen. It can take a few days. I mean, I've seen it happen as quickly as a day. It just depends on when everything gets complete. Basically, once your application is complete, that's if you have insurance, you've already applied for insurance, and you have that claim number. If your house gets inspected, if somebody has already assessed it by doing our initial assessments, it can happen relatively quick. So it really just depends on when the application's done. I've seen it happen really fast, and I've seen it take a couple of weeks. But it's only because if you get an email to tell you we need more pictures or we need an inspector to come out and you don't respond, then that process can go on for a little while.
For Mr. Tyler Dees, you said that there are students going around helping pick up. You know where they are right now?
Students, is that what you said? Yes, so we have students from Silent Springs and Gentry today, 41 students that are in western Decatur, working on 2 different farms, cleaning up debris. I'd also like to add, from your previous question, we've got the western side of the county, organizations like Simmons Foods and their chaplaincy program have brought in translators to help with any need, as well as we have some ESL teachers from school districts that have offered their services for anybody that needs help reviewing documents, seeking assistance, all meeting usually down at First Baptist Church in downtown Decatur and with City Hall with Mayor Thornton and their team. So we've got that student organization going on right now, again next Friday as well, coordinating work in Decatur.
And then also for scams, what are some of the biggest concerns that you guys are seeing right now, or what are some of the biggest types of scams that you guys are seeing right now?
Well, I would say the most predominant is with storm vegetative debris removal, in particular larger trees. I gave the example last weekend that we had a 110-year-old pecan tree fall in our backyard. Fortunately, minor damage to property. But we had a bid in the AM last week that was $15,500 to remove the tree, and we had a bid in the afternoon from a local company for $3,000. So I'll let you draw the conclusion as to which one cut that tree up in my backyard. But those are things that. But my neighbor, they paid the first contractor. So I just, there's a lot of folks that don't yet understand that their homeowner's insurance likely will not cover the cost of tree removal unless it damaged property. And in some cases, they don't even cover the tree removal when it does damage property. So it's really individually about your insurance plan. But when these folks find that out, and you get a bid for $3,000 or $4,000 or $5,000, $6,000 to remove a large tree, there's a lot of folks that don't have that kind of money in their emergency fund. And if they do, that will deplete the emergency fund, so they're now living on the margin. And so as much as possible, we just want to encourage people to get 2 or 3 bids. Ask for, if folks have a business license, get verification that they're bonded and insured before you enter into a contract, and never pay up front for any of the work that's occurring in that area.
It sounds a little bit like price gouging. Is that something that...
So the AG's office has been on the ground here and certainly offered their help. We're pushing out their materials on our website and our social media sites to try to explain to folks what price gouging is, what time period falls within an emergency, that price gouging is that the law is triggered by the state. And it's, again, it's 10% above what it would have cost the week before the storm occurred. So that's the threshold to determine whether price gouging is
And on the looting standpoint, is that an issue as well?
That's not been an issue that we're dealing with. I mean, individuals, some separated off-site issues, but again, as I briefed you last Friday, our crime stats are not changing as a result. So I don't believe that there's an uptick in crime that's directly related to the storm.
This is for both of our mayors, and Judge Waring has.
Actually, did you want to answer that question too?
For us, we need the eyes and ears of the public to tell us about those things. So 271-3170 is our non-emergency number in Bentonville. Again, we need all of that recorded into a system so that we have it recorded. We know exactly what happened. And so we talked about documentation for the storm debris and everything else. Documentation of when you think you're getting scammed, or if those things are really, really important.
And just one last thing on fraud from a FEMA perspective. We haven't really heard of any specific cases happening so far, but historically, some people tend to try to represent themselves from FEMA. We do have people in the field that will be either wearing a FEMA shirt or a vest. They will have an identification badge that says they're from FEMA, and we will never ask for any money up front. We've had that happen in the past. We will only take your application and turn it in. So nobody from FEMA is going to guarantee any work to be done on your property, and we're not going to ever ask for any money to come up front. We will have proper identification, and if you are questioning that, just feel free on our FEMA.gov site. You can find the fraud line, and you can report that, because any work that's being done on an individual's property, we're working with the state and with the locals to get that done. We're not going to ever initiate that on the house. Thank you.
I was just going to touch on the translation services that you mentioned. We have been working in coordination with FEMA to push out materials that are not just simply in English. Right now we have English and Spanish primarily. The Marshallese is a well-known need. I think they're also working on Vietnamese. And so just as I stated before, on those social media pages, FEMA and both ADAM are pushing out those materials. FEMA's website also offers, I believe it's the disaster disasterassistance.gov, where you can actually go to different little tabs and click on the different languages. So for individuals who may not speak English, read English, they have those available. And in the DRCs, which is just specifically for individual assistance, they can provide translation services if need be. There's also a number you can call through FEMA and to make those requests.
Yes. Has either of the cities or the county applied for FEMA assistance yet?
Well, you're talking about the PA, so that's, they're just kind of starting that process. In fact, today, real time, we have a FEMA representative from their engineering department touring some of the sites in Rogers, in particular Northwest Park is where they started. So yes, that process is starting and will unfold relatively quickly once the threshold is met, and I don't think that's going to be an issue.
Short answer is yes. Even going back to early last week, we had queried all the cities about their public damage with the county's public damage, and it was well in excess of $70 million is the estimate last week. Now that gets refined and changed and updated, but yeah, we're working very closely with FEMA on that.
And the $70 million, that's only property damage, that's not including
Property, that also included a debris removal estimate. Very rough though. Just keep in mind, that's when things were still pretty sporadic, and now we tighten that up and work with FEMA to go forward on the different kinds of assistance available for public entities.
Same as City of Bentonville, yesterday we were touring the FEMA on the PA side, all of our facilities. Also in City of Bentonville, we do have our own electric, so we had over 120 electrical, so all we documented and that.
Last one for us. If there's anyone who still wants to volunteer and help out, but they don't know where to go, where can they go to? Who can they contact?
I'm going to bring Nathan Murray up, who can address some questions. But the helparkansas.com, which is the governor's website, they do have a list of volunteer organizations that you may want to contact and reach out to, because they may know specific areas where you need, where there are needs.
Hey, good morning, y'all. Your Deputy State Coordinating Officer, Nathan Murray. So pretty much what we're looking at, I'm going to circle back with the public assistance. We're still doing preliminary damage assessments as we speak. We hopefully to have those done very soon. That is for public assistance. That is to help the infrastructure base for your tax bases for our county and cities as well. So we're working hand in hand. The state is here. We're coordinating very well with FEMA as well with our local partners and our county governments. So with that answer, we are in the process again, just really trying to get that pushed out and try to get those add-on counties as well. This was a violent event. We're looking at 12 total counties that was impacted with these storms. So, I mean, this is something that we, as our agency, has seen many times, but we hadn't had this one with the fatalities, unfortunately, as impacted as much with the state in a while. So, very good coordination going on with the public assistance side of it. Really urge for our media as well with our county officials and city officials, have your residents go to your disaster recovery center. So we've heard that terminology, DRCs, disaster recovery centers. Those will be able to help your residents to try to get that recovery process going for them. They can help them take their applications, they can help with translations, etc. So with volunteers, again, with those volunteer types of places that you go, circle that back with your local governments. We also want to really capture who's out there volunteering. Again, stick within your skill level. We don't want someone out there getting hurt, but definitely we want to document, hey, who's all been out there. That does help your county governments when it comes to certain types of grant fundings as well. So just keep that in mind. Thank you.
I can maybe add another piece, and it's not just kind of the volunteering, but I think 7 hours after the tornado, the community started contacting us if we have resources available, et cetera. So this resource list, if you will, has been up and running ever since the tornado, essentially. It's on Benton County website, it's on our website, various things, but just could be a church saying, hey, we're going to do this on Monday and Tuesday. coming up, making us aware of that, and that's posted. So it's just, in that case, you don't have to contact us necessarily for support. It's just a list of resources that are out there. So we also encourage the community. It's another way that if they want to contact us, and we can keep expanding that. And of course, it's for anybody to use. We can do that also.
Any other questions? All right, I appreciate y'all coming here. Thank you to everybody up here who came as well. And I don't know if we're gonna need another one of these or not. I mean, this kind of buttons it up for 2 weeks. If we end up needing another briefing, we'll let you know, but this might be the last one of these in this format that we do. Appreciate y'all getting the word out.